It's something we all navigate, right? Keeping relationships strong. And even with all the changes in society, things can still feel, well, complicated sometimes.
Definitely.
We ever just wonder why some interactions flow so easily and others just hit a wall?
That's pretty universal, I think. And it brings us to John Gray's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
Ah, yes. The classic.
Yeah, and, despite maybe its pop culture status, it offers this framework for understanding some, let's say, fundamental differences.
Right.
We're looking at a summary today from that educational YouTube channel, trying to pull out some practical takeaways.
Exactly. So the mission for this deep dive isn't just, revisiting the whole Mars-Venus thing.
No.
It's more about digging into those core ideas about what brings joy, what causes stress for men and women in relationships.
Sort of like looking at different operating systems.
Yeah, exactly, to help us understand each other a bit better.
And that central idea, that men and women can seem so different, they might as well be from different planets. It's a really interesting lens.
Okay, so let's get into the first key difference from the video summary. It's about women valuing feeling heard. Seems simple, but the impact is, huge.
Absolutely. The video really stresses that for many women, just having that space to share thoughts, feelings, experiences.
Like recounting the day.
Yeah, or something bigger. And just knowing someone's really listening, that's deeply satisfying. It's often not about finding a fix right away.
It's more about feeling understood.
Precisely.
The video gives those examples, like just wanting to talk about work or something that happened. And it's not just listening, is it? It's the quality of listening.
Right. That active engagement, no interruptions, no quick judgments.
And definitely holding back on the unsolicited advice.
Which, that instinct to offer solutions, which can be a pretty common male response.
Yeah.
That can actually miss the point entirely in these moments. What she's often looking for is validation, empathy.
So when she doesn't feel heard?
It can be really detrimental. It can lead to feeling, unimportant, unvalued, just fundamentally misunderstood.
Like that emotional validation is just missing.
Yeah, it's a primary need.
So for the guys listening, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
even if the topic doesn't seem super interesting to you,
Mm-hmm.
just showing you're engaged. A simple, tell me more about that, or nodding along.
That can make a huge difference. It's about creating that safe space for her to feel seen.
Yeah.
Validated.
That makes sense.
Exactly. Now, flipping the coin, the video highlights that men often find real value in feeling appreciated, being thanked.
Well, yeah.
This seems to connect to a really deep need to feel competent, valued for what they do.
That makes a lot of intuitive sense. The video has that example, like a woman saying, wow, thank you, you work so hard.
Yeah.
Simple but powerful.
Absolutely. The video suggests, based on the book, that a key reason men seek relationships is, to be appreciated for their actions. That acknowledgement, it's like powerful positive reinforcement, boosts their sense of worth in the partnership.
Almost like fuel,
Wow.
Keeps them engaged.
Yeah. And the video contrasts this with maybe a tendency some women might have to focus more on dissatisfaction or what's lacking.
Which, as the video points out, can be really demotivating for men.
Totally. Constant criticism can make a guy feel like nothing he does is ever good enough.
Leading to withdrawal?
Potentially, yeah.
That's
Disengagement over time.
So a key takeaway then, maybe for women listening, consciously make that effort. Acknowledge and thank your partner, even for small things.
Exactly. It reinforces that feeling of being valued, being effective.
Got it.
Just like women often need that listening, men often thrive on knowing their efforts are seen, appreciated, creates a better cycle.
Okay, moving on. Another really interesting area is how women experience care. It's not always the big, grand gestures, right?
Not at all. The video really emphasizes those smaller, consistent acts of caring.
The I'm thinking of you moments.
Exactly. And the video gives great examples. Asking if she's cold, noticing she seems a bit down, helping with something heavy.
Pulling out a chair, even. Regular communication.
Yeah, those things.
Things that might seem small or maybe even superficial to some. But the video says they have a big impact on women's emotional well-being.
That's a crucial point. Because while someone else might not prioritize those things, for many women, they're powerful signals, indicators of affection, attentiveness.
And a lack of them.
Can contribute to feeling unhappy, unloved even.
The video used that analogy. I thought this was pretty funny, comparing it to caring for a Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
That proactive, consistent checking in.
It does highlight that attentiveness, doesn't it? And the video also touches on something more nuanced, That sort of unspoken desire for men to just know what they need intuitively.
Yeah, yes. The mind-reading expectation, that's definitely tricky territory.
It is.
But it does point to the value of really paying attention, observing your partner's emotional state.
Indeed. Now let's shift to how men often handle stress. The video points to a pretty distinct need for alone time as a way to de-stress, recharge.
This feels familiar, the idea that men often feel this pressure, to be reliable, the strong one, and that constant social interaction, even with a partner, can be draining.
Exactly. The video mentions a time frame, maybe 20, 30 minutes a day, minimum, for that solitary time.
And the examples are things like listening to music alone in the car.
Or playing video games, going for a walk, just eating alone, things like that.
It's about creating that mental space, right, to process things on their own and wind.
Yeah. And the video does say women need alone time too, of course. But often their way of de-stressing involves talking, connecting.
That's a key difference.
It really is. For many men, stress relief needs that independent thought, a break from interaction. And this is where misunderstandings can creep in.
Because the partner might see him pulling away and think it's about her.
Right. Misinterpret it as being ignored and then maybe interrupt that needed alone time.
Making him more irritable.
Exactly. Paradoxically, yeah. Because he didn't get to properly recharge. So the message is respect that space, allow for it.
Understand it's not rejection, it's just necessary maintenance.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So he can come back refreshed and more present.
Okay.
And related to stress, but different, when women are stressed, the video points to physical touch as a key need for comfort and de-stressing.
Oh, interesting. The idea that touch itself can actually, physiologically reduce stress for women.
Absolutely. The video talks about how non-sexual touch helps regulate hormones, releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone.
Oxytocin.
Which leads to feelings of peace, security, satisfaction for many women. Now, men get oxytocin from touch too, but the calming, connecting effect can often be more pronounced for women.
So it's not just about sex.
Yeah.
The examples are simple things.
Yeah. Holding hands, gentle eye contact, a light hug, everyday affection. It carries a lot of emotional weight.
Right, because the video mentions that if touch only happens when it's leading to sex.
It can feel transactional, not genuinely caring.
Like it has an agenda.
Exactly. So the emphasis is on incorporating regular non-sexual touch to show care, connection, beyond just desire.
Makes sense. The book apparently says this non-sexual touch is really effective for that oxytocin release.
That's what the video references, yeah. Promoting well-being and connection.
Okay, another core difference the video gets into, men valuing trust, being given autonomy, taps into that desire to feel competent, capable.
Precisely. The video uses examples like letting him handle work stuff or choose the driving route or pick the restaurant.
Seems small.
But these acts of trust, they can feel like a big vote of confidence in his judgment, his abilities.
Like saying, I believe you can handle this. Yeah, I can see how that's motivating. The flip side, though, when that trust feels missing.
Exactly. Unsolicited advice, criticism, especially in areas he feels competent in.
Like driving or his job.
Yeah, it can make him feel untrusted, inadequate, demotivated even, undermines that sense of self-efficacy.
Feels like being micromanaged, probably, which nobody likes. And the video says feeling controlled like that can make men less receptive later on.
That's a critical point. If he feels undermined, he might just shut down input altogether, become more resistant.
So the advice is, generally trust his judgment. Don't jump in with advice unless asked.
Pretty much. Trust his approach in areas he feels capable in. Now, obviously, the video adds that caveat about unhealthy relationships where trust might genuinely be misplaced.
Right, got to use discernment.
Absolutely. So the video then moves into some practical strategies. Applying these ideas. First one, requesting versus complaining.
The framing. Seems like a small language shift, but huge impact.
Totally. The video shows why request works so much better.
Like, instead of, you never take out the trash.
Rephrasing it. Could you please take out the trash? That'd be a big help. Much more likely to get a positive response, right?
Yeah, it shifts from blame to collaboration. Needs focused.
The video gives other examples like, would you mind calling if you're going to be late? I'd appreciate knowing. Instead of,
why didn't you call?
Right. The request is about your feelings, your needs. Much less likely to trigger defensiveness. Helps keep things healthier.
Okay. Then there was another kind of counterintuitive point about Men maybe limiting how much negative emotion they share with their female partners?
Yeah, this one's interesting because it sort of goes against the usual just communicate everything advice.
Right.
But the reasoning, according to the video, based on the book, is that women often look for a sense of strength, stability in their male partners.
Okay.
So excessive negativity or constant complaining from him can actually create insecurity or worry for her. It kind of shifts the dynamic she might be expecting or needing.
Huh. Maybe tied to some traditional expectations there. So the suggestion is find other outlets.
Yeah, the video suggests talking with male friends or using those solitary activities we mentioned to process feelings.
Not bottling it up, but maybe not using the primary relationship as the main dumping ground for negativity.
Something like that. The book, as the video notes, suggests oversharing vulnerabilities like you might with a female friend could potentially change the attraction dynamic, that perception of masculine energy.
Wow, that's a really nuanced point to consider. It's about being thoughtful about where and how you share.
Exactly. Finding those other healthy outlets like male friends or solo processing time seems to be the recommendation.
Got it. And finally, the video kind of recaps the importance of avoiding unsolicited advice and complaints generally, ties it all together.
Yeah, it really hammers home that trying to change your partner through criticism or unwanted suggestions usually backfires. It damages things.
So often it's just about listening without fixing and trusting without directing.
Pretty much. Accepting and appreciating who they are rather than trying to sculpt them into your ideal.
Right.
So the video wraps by summarizing those core needs again. Women often needing to feel heard, cared for through small acts, non-sexual touch.
While men often value appreciation, space to recharge, and trust in their competence.
And understanding these differences, trying to meet these differing needs, that's presented as really fundamental for long-term success.
So it feels like, while maybe Mars Venus is a simplification,
It is.
it does highlight some genuinely different ways we often experience relationships. And the video acknowledges it's complex.
Yeah.
It's ongoing work.
But, getting a better handle on these different needs and preferences, respecting them, like this video from C lays out, that can seriously improve understanding, connection, make relationships happier, more resilient.
So thinking about all this, these fundamental differences, being heard versus feeling appreciated, small caring acts versus needing space, touch versus trust. What's maybe one small conscious shift you could make today in how you interact to try and better understand or appreciate the perspective of your partner or just people you care about? Really makes you think about that balance, doesn't it? Between our own needs and the mutual support that helps relationships thrive.